Why does God let the storm rage when he could calm it in an instant? Why does he let the thunder roll and the waves crash around you when with one word he could silence the chaos? And the shocking truth is that the storm is never just about the wind and the rain, but about what the storm is secretly shaping inside you, because storms strip away illusions. Storms expose where your faith really stands, and storms reveal whether you are holding on to God or only to the idea of God. And sometimes the delay in the calming of your storm is the very tool he uses to tear down your pride and rebuild your dependence, just as he allowed Israel to wander in the wilderness so they could learn not to live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from his mouth. And you feel abandoned, but in reality, you are being trained, because James 1:3 says, "The testing of your faith produces perseverance, and perseverance is not born in calm seas but in violent waves." And the hidden reason God doesn't always stop the storm immediately is because if he did, you would never discover how much you secretly lean on your own strength, how quickly you panic when comfort is gone, and how shallow your trust really is until it's forced into the deep. Think of the disciples in Mark 4:37, terrified as their boat filled with water, crying out to Jesus who was asleep. And when he finally rose and stilled the storm, his rebuke was not about the storm but about their faith, because the storm was always meant to test them more than to threaten them. And the same is true for you. The storm is not always the enemy's weapon, but sometimes God's classroom, shaping the heart he intends to use. And if you knew how much he was preparing you for, you would see the storm differently, not as punishment, but as pruning. And pruning always feels like loss until the fruit shows. Another hidden reason is timing, because God's timing is not your timing, and he knows that stopping the storm too soon may rob you of the maturity he intends to give you, because Romans 5:3 says, "Suffering produces perseverance, perseverance produces character, and character produces hope," and you cannot shortcut that process. So he allows the wind to roar until your roots go deeper, until your prayers move from begging for escape to seeking his presence in the middle of it, because he knows that a faith built only on calm days cannot stand on the battlefield, and the storm is his way of fortifying you for greater battles you cannot yet see. Sometimes the storm is his protection because you think deliverance means calm waters, but what if he knows that calm waters at the wrong time would take you straight into destruction? What if the storm that feels like delay is actually keeping you from rushing into a hidden trap, just as Paul was stopped by the Holy Spirit from entering certain regions in Acts 16? What looked like delay was actually divine redirection. And you need to realize that what feels like God ignoring you may secretly be God protecting you. The storm also reveals loyalty, because anyone can praise in sunshine, but only the faithful worship in the storm. And sometimes God is watching to see if your devotion is tied to blessings or rooted in him alone, because Job said, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." And the storm forces you to answer the uncomfortable question, do you love God for what he gives or for who he is? And until you settle that, he may not silence the storm, because the silence is training your spirit to anchor in him and not in outcomes. Even more shocking is that sometimes God leaves the storm raging because the world around you is watching, and your storm is not just about you, but about the witness you carry. Because when Paul and Silas were beaten and chained in Acts 16, their worship in the storm shook the prison, and other lives were set free because they did not wait for perfect conditions to praise. And the same may be true in your life. Others are secretly being drawn to God by the way you stand firm in your storm. So the delay in deliverance is actually multiplying impact far beyond your own story. The hidden warning in all this is that if you constantly run from every storm or demand God end it instantly, you may be forfeiting the very breakthrough you are praying for, because Romans 8:28 reminds you that all things, even storms, work together for good for those who love Him. But the good often comes disguised as struggle, and if you reject the storm, you may reject the transformation. So the next time the waves rise and the sky darkens, don't mistake delay for abandonment. Don't confuse silence for absence, because the God who walks on water is the same God who sits in the boat with you. And if He allows the storm to linger, it is not to destroy you, but to deepen you. It is not to shame you, but to shape you. And the real question is not why the storm hasn't stopped, but what the storm is revealing in you. Because when the thunder has passed and the skies finally clear, you will look back and realize that the storm you begged God to remove was the very storm that made you unshakable. And if you truly belong to Him, the challenge is this: will you still trust Him when the winds howl? Will you still worship Him when the waters rise? And will you still declare His goodness even when the storm does not end on your timetable? Because the secret to surviving the storm is not when it ends, but who you become while it rages.